Good day, podcast world. It is December almost, but January the 2nd, 2026. This is episode 1 of our second season. In reality, it is episode 15 of Fully Dressed. I am Bruce the Duck Simonis, and that is Brett Star Rookie Starkey, and we're coming at you from our home offices. I am here in Kissimmee, Florida in Big Dog Studios, and he is coming from Ashland, Kentucky, or Flatwoods, Kentucky, which is basically outside of Ashland. And we are here to entertain, enlighten, and educate each and every one of you. So we're glad you joined us. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And welcome to 2026, Rook.
What up?
Yeah, it has been a weird and crazy 25. I, for one, am glad it's over. My first question was, we're going to do it again, like a whole other year. We just finished one, and now we're going to do another one. Like some of the stuff we went through, some of the crazy that's out there, some of the BS that we've seen and experienced. But yet, I guess we're lucky enough to have another one. And we traditionally talk about current events, things in the news, things that grind our gears, that pique our interest, and things that we want to discuss. We're totally open to whatever you want to discuss, so please let us know. We will gladly discuss your things.
Comment, and share.
Yep, absolutely. And we will absolutely have you on as a guest if you like. Just let us know if you want to be a member, and we will schedule that accordingly. Just be prepared for our input. We will do our best to not be rude, but we will give you our honest opinions about whatever it is you want to discuss. So, rookies, you want to start off, and we can hit the ground running here in 2026 and get this thing running from the start.
Well, I don't have any real rants this week. But
you don't have any rants?
I don't have a rant, but
okay.
Let's hold on. Let's go back to one of my previous rants. If you'll be so kind as to pull that up.
Booyah.
Let's take a minute and listen. This is one of my previous rants.
Tonight, tense clashes between protesters and security forces in Iran now turning deadly, with at least 3 people killed and 17 injured at a protest today, according to a semi-official state news agency. The demonstrations have been escalating for days, sparked by worsening economic conditions in the country. Cost of living is high, inflation is soaring, and Iran's currency recently crashed to a record low against the dollar. This video shows a protester sitting in the street, appearing to defy officers, leading some online to draw comparisons to this image from Tiananmen Square. While in Tehran, a number of shopkeepers closed their doors in protest earlier this week. They appear to be the biggest demonstrations in the country since 2022, when mass protests erupted over the death of Mahsa Amini. The 22-year-old died in police custody after she was arrested for not properly wearing a hijab. The latest unrest comes amid a period of heightened tension between Iran and the West. The Iranian president recently said his country is, quote, engaged in a full-scale war with the U.S., Israel, and Europe. And earlier this week, President Trump issued this stark warning to Iran over its nuclear program.
I hear that Iran is trying to build up again, and if they are, we're going to have to knock them down.
Dozens of protesters have been arrested. The State Department tonight saying demonstrators are facing, quote, intimidation and violence from Iran's government and is calling on the crackdown to end. Kate?
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay up.
All right, so if we remember correctly, back after we bombed Iran, I said that we don't need to go in. We don't need to do anything. The people of Iran need to make the decision for themselves. And that appears to be exactly what they're doing. Now, should we support the people? Absolutely. Not the regime. So Iran wants to put out all of this craziness and all of the The people don't want their governance. And I think the people are going to take care of business.
And they, the leader or one of the leaders of the resistance came out and said, we don't want to see American troops on the ground in Iran. We want to handle our own business. We will take support if requested. And I think I heard this morning, and I can't remember what their currency is. Is it a rupee or something like that? Or ruble or something like that?
I don't know.
But it apparently is 1.3 million to purchase one American dollar. So they are in absolute turmoil.
Iranian rial is worth 0.000024 US dollars.
And they, Trump said, the moment you start killing the protesters, we will be there to defend them. So I think that is close because they have a history of you disagree with us, we'll just kill you. Like that one woman was killed for not wearing a hijab. Like, come on. And I think they had enough.
That plays right into what's going on in Venezuela. Maduro put out a video yesterday or the day before talking about we want to work with the United States. If they want our oil, we want you to stop sending drugs to our country. If the people of Venezuela want to overthrow you, we'll support them because you are a dictator. Yeah. You lost the election. You fixed it, remained in power. If the people decide to uprise against you, we'll support that. But outside of that, you have sanctions. You're not allowed to sell oil, and we're going to confiscate your oil when you try to ship it out and when you send drug boats to the United States. I still haven't heard the complaints from the family members of the people that were killed.
Not one. Not a
My
single
fisherman
one.
family was completely wiped out. No, nobody's saying that.
If you killed one of my siblings for that, I would be raising all kinds of hell.
Yep. And the liberal media in the United States would pick that up and run with it.
Oh, in a second. And then they would add on to whatever they want to add on to it. But they're like, I think Maduro came out yesterday and said that he's willing to have conversations about how to ease the tensions.
A little late for that.
Do you want to ease the tensions? Stop all the bullshit.
Yeah.
Stop the mass amounts of drugs coming out of your country into ours, and stop selling your oil to the countries that shouldn't be getting it, which have been sanctioned already. So I think there is turmoil, the scope I don't think we have seen in our lifetimes. And a lot of it is self-inflicted by these
you go
countries.
Back to what they referred to there. Remember the I think it was a student that stood in front of the tank in Tiananmen Square. There have been these things. Now that was unsuccessful because the communists ended up staying in control and taking control, but we'll see what happens.
I think compared to that time until now, even if it's banned or whatever, there are cameras and outlets that will show what's going on, even though it's not supposed to.
Yep.
By their means, they're trying to block all of it. So that, like, how fortunate we are to live in this country that has yet to happen. I think a lot of people are trying to get us there, that hate America, that live in America, that ran and escaped from those places, that come here and try to bring that here for some reason. But we're very fortunate at this time to not have been a part of that. Like,
well, doesn't that lead us into one of your subjects? What's happening in Minnesota?
Well, in Minnesota and in New York. So I'll start off by this here in New York. Zoran the Moron Mamdani the Commie was sworn in at midnight on the 1st as the new mayor. And his first thing he did was that he revokes Adams' executive order. all of his orders after September the 24th, which was apparently the day that he was indicted. And he has eliminated all the executive orders by Adams regarding like Israel and anti-Semitism and how it's defined and those type of things. So he's basically eliminated all those rules and laws regarding that, and people are losing their minds over this, which like you can't blame them for that, but you voted for him. What did you expect? Like, what kind of idiocy does it take to vote in someone that has publicly on multiple occasions globalized Antifa? He's a communist. He's a socialist. He's a Muslim. He was sworn in on the Quran. You voted him in.
That was pretty irritating.
You voted him in. He has been photographed with the president of, where's he from? Ghana or wherever he's from. And they arrest and torture and kill homosexuals from both sides, gay, lesbian, whatever you want to call it. And yet he says he's going to defend all New Yorkers. He is not.
The bottom line is he's a self-proclaimed socialist, and this is not a socialist country. If he wants a socialist city, run it for 4 years. Let's see how it goes. But
that city,
I told you so, is coming.
100%. That city is going to implode. I want to see the numbers of the corporations and the wealthy people that start exiting that city in a hurry.
Yeah.
How are you going to pay for all that stuff?
Well, they already started leaving.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then one of his first things he did this morning or yesterday morning was there was a company, I think it's called Pinnacle Realty. They have 93 buildings that they manage, residential buildings. And they have a lot of complaints against them, which I understand are basic slumlords, but they're in bankruptcy. So he's already planning on auctioning off these buildings. He is going to tax the rich, and apparently he's permitted to do so, which they said it wasn't possible, but I guess there are some bylaws that allow him to add on additional taxes in the city that the governor does not have to authorize.
I can see that, city taxes. Yeah. Yeah.
And I live in Orlando, and south of me by 2.5 hours is West Palm Beach. They have received over 100,000 requests for relocation of businesses from New York this year. I guess the last part of last year's leading up into 26. So when all these people leave with their businesses and their money, how are you going to pay for the free buses, the grocery stores, the free health care, child care, the rent?
That's the question at hand.
All these people like, oh, it's free. It's free. It's free. Yeah, it's free until you have to go do forced labor to pay for it. It's not free. Like that city is going to just implode upon itself. And I used to love to go to New York. It was amazing and adventurous and so much fun and exciting. I will not spend a fake nickel in that entire state again until they get it together. And I honestly don't know if that's ever going to be possible. That could be one of the most tragic examples of a city in ruins that cannot and will not ever recover. And that's just in that one city.
My final marker of, is this country going to survive? Now, I think it'll survive beyond us. We're kind of old. But will this country survive in the long term, another 250 years, I will decide what my opinion is on July 4th. By the time July 4th gets here, Trump better have everything in place that he wants to have in place for us to celebrate 250 and lead up to the next elections, the midterms that are in November. July needs to be that marker. And I think that's his goal. And I think we're going to see a lot of things between now and then. That's 6 months.
Yeah. And, you know, I don't like, I maybe put too much into this, but like, I don't want to talk about things and then speak them into existence. But if we, as the Republican side, don't have it together by the midterms, then Trump's tenure is basically over at the midterms. If we don't win the midterms,
I agree. We're done.
His tenure basically is over. He may be in office for 2 more years, but it will mean nothing because they will start impeachments. It'll be tragic. It'll basically be the last 2 years will be worthless because he won't be able to do anything. And the people that have been elected in the Republican side that are dragging their feet and doing nothing and fighting against all of his policies, like, they're to blame. And they should be ashamed of themselves. And if it's not corrected, it's going to be over. And all these young people that won him the second term, it's weird how short-minded they are because they were all excited. They came out in droves and voted for him. And this shows what happens to the young people, how they think, oh, you got in office on this day and then it's tomorrow now. Why isn't it fixed? They don't understand, like, it doesn't work that way. Like, if you say, I'm going to build a house, we're going to start tomorrow on Monday. And then on Tuesday, you're pissed off because you don't have a house yet.
Yeah.
They don't realize you got to put a foundation in. You got to do the plumbing and the pipes and the cement and the foundation and then build the walls. And then you can move into this house 3, 4, 5, 6 months later. They think, I want to build a house today. I should be able to move in tomorrow. So now they're already like flipping and they're voting for people like Mamdani and that dumbass in Seattle. Like, it doesn't work that way. So unfortunately for Trump and the people that still support him, like, they need to see some results in the first quarter of this year, or we could be in a giant mud hole that's filled with quicksand.
Well,
it will go horribly, horribly wrong.
Let me use this opportunity as a segue into my next little story here, because there is reason for a little bit of hope from what I saw this post just the other day. It might have been yesterday. Did you see this, CBS News?
I did not.
Okay, 2 minutes.
A lot has changed since the first person sat in this chair. But for me, the biggest difference is people do not trust us like they used to. And it's not just us. It's all of legacy media. And I get it. I get it because I've been hearing about it from just about everybody for more than 20 years as I've traveled America on this assignment or that. My mom's neighbors in West Virginia, my own neighbors in New York City, thousands and thousands of conversations in between. Sometimes people want to talk to me about our coverage of NAFTA or the Iraq War. Other times it's all about Hillary Clinton's emails or Russiagate. Or more recently, COVID lockdowns, Hunter Biden's laptop, or the president's fitness for office. The point is, on too many stories, the press has missed the story. Because we've taken into account the perspective of advocates and not the average American. Or we put too much weight in the analysis of academics or elites and not enough on you. And I know this because at certain points, I have been you. I have felt this way too. I felt like what I was seeing and hearing on the news didn't reflect what I was seeing and hearing in my own life, and that the most urgent questions simply weren't being asked. So here's my promise to you today and every time you see me in this chair. You come first, not advertisers, not politicians, not corporate interests. And yes, that does include the corporate owners of CBS. I report for you, which means I tell you what I know, when I know it, and how I know it. And when I get it wrong, I'll tell you that too. It also means I'm going to talk to everybody and hold everyone in public life to the very same standard. After all, I became a journalist to talk to people. I love talking to people about what works in this country, what doesn't, and not only what should change, but the good ideas that should never change. I think telling the truth is one of them. I'm Tony Dokoupil, the anchor of the CBS Evening News. Hold me to it. A lot has changed.
Tony Dokoupil. So after I watched that, I went and put in my DVR to record CBS Evening News every night. I haven't watched them for years.
And, you know, they were furious that he was given that position because they knew he was going to start talking the truth. And now that they're owned by, who is it? Blackstone or whoever
BlackRock?
owns it. No, it's not BlackRock. Whoever bought them out. It's now owned by the Ellisons, Larry Ellison and his son, and Barry Weiss is now the leader. Like, they're furious that they put him in. And I think they even had like a mass exodus of some of the people that were in there because he got moved into that spot, because they know he's going to start speaking the truth and actually do what you are supposed to do as a journalist, which is tell us the news. Like when we were younger, and Ted Koppel, Dan Rather, Walter Cronkite, it didn't matter what station they were on. Whenever they talked about a news story, they did not care if it was pro-Democrat, pro-Republican. They didn't care. Like, this is the story. And they may be friends with Reagan or Carter or whoever. They didn't care. Like, if this shines a bad light on you, it's the news. And the people need to hear this. And I may be your friend or someone that you trust. I'm still going to tell them. And that's what we got accustomed to. And in 2016, it started going down this hill that was so slippery.
To be fair, it started before 16, man. It started during the entire Obama presidency.
But it got crazy at that point.
When Trump first announced and came down the escalator, people loved him. Mm-hmm. He was on all kinds of shows real quick, and then suddenly they made a turn. Just like they did in South Carolina, the Democrats, when they were voting in the primary for the presidential nominee, and everybody dropped out and they handed it to Biden.
Mm-hmm. Like, he wasn't even scoring any points. And then suddenly they're like, it's him. We were all like, what? Like, that's a catastrophe. In reality, Bernie Sanders should have been the Democratic nominee twice.
Yeah. I voted for him.
And they just said, no, thanks.
That was my kicker, was when I voted for Sanders in the primary, and I was watching the first few states did their primary elections, and Sanders was in the running. And I'm like, okay, at least get a socialist in there who he can nix the hardcore conservatives, and the hardcore liberals will be nixed out by the conservatives. So let him be in there. And they just took it completely away and handed it to Biden. I'm like, Biden's an old man. We're just getting the same old shit.
Do you remember? I don't remember the year. It had to be 2014, 2015, probably 2014, because that's when they were gearing up for 2016. We were in Athens, and we were in front of the Salad Station on the server alley, and you and Taysap were having a conversation, about the upcoming election. And you said something about Bernie Sanders, and he was like, how do you know who that is? And you're like, I do my very best to be educated on all of them so I can make an informed decision. And he was blown away by the fact that you knew who that was. That's the first time I ever heard of him. But you knew about all of him, about his past, what he was about, who he was. And you said, I am going to vote for him. And he was so surprised that you even knew who that was. And he had massive momentum.
Yep.
And then they just swept him out the door and put Hillary in because they really believed Hillary was going to destroy Trump.
And instead of Bernie Sanders doing what a good politician would do, i.e., Kennedy Jr., i.e., Tulsi Gabbard, when they pushed them out, they said, okay, we'll leave. Bernie, like, okay, give me what you want to give me, and then I'll support whoever you.
Yeah.
You're a politician. You're no more than that. You're no more fighting for the little guy. You want your name up there in lights, and now you want to hand that mantle off to AOC, and you want her to fulfill your legacy of a socialist democracy. You can't have a socialist democracy. You can't.
You can't. And it's also, they want a socialist democracy for us, but not for them.
Not for them.
Bernie is a multi-millionaire. He has 3 or 4 homes that are like $3, $4, $5 million each, but he wants you to live in a socialist environment, but not him. He wants to travel on his private jet. He wants to take in all the money, but he doesn't want you to have it because it's not fair. But he's an elected official, and he needs it so he could do his work. Like, that is such a crock of shit. Like, if you want to start a movement and you want it to be for everyone, you are included in the everyone. It's not just for the people that you govern. It has to be for you too, or they wouldn't do it. If they had to live in the same means they want us to live in, they wouldn't do it.
Bernie Sanders used to his message was, get rid of the millionaires. The millionaires need to pay their fair share. Millionaires need to pay their fair share, till he became a millionaire. Now it's the billionaires need to pay their fair share. The billionaires need to pay their fair share. He's just a tool.
Yep.
I had respect for him. I did.
You know what? When I first started learning about him, I did too. I did not believe in what he believed in.
Right.
But I respected what he was trying to do, because I really felt, when I first learned of him, I really felt that he was of and for the people. And then I realized he's of and for Bernie Sanders.
Yep.
And as long as that side stays in power, because then for him, it remains the same and gets better. So I think that whole group, or my dad used to say, a bunch of scoundrels.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a tragedy that people fall into that, because all of these people that are voting for the AOCs and the Mamdamis and that kook in Seattle and that other kook in Boston and Bernie, they don't know about Venezuela. They don't know about Cuba. They don't know about September 11th. Because we're not even teaching them that. So they're growing up. They don't have any idea about it. And they're too lazy to go out and do research on their own to understand what it is they're voting for. Like, could you imagine being
okay,
ignorant?
but wait. I am going to be in that conspiracy theory realm that our elections are fixed. Elections in major cities are really fixed. I think there's corruption going on. That's part of my July marker, is we need to make sure to bring all truth to light. My truth isn't anything. I have an opinion. I don't have a truth because I don't know the truth. I know the truth they tell me. our elections are legit and fair, and we watch them and monitor them, and this is the legitimate winner of the election. That is what they proposed to me. I don't believe it. Now, I could be wrong, but if I'm right, that needs to be brought to light somehow, some way, through the media, places like CBS News that are now saying they're going to report the news fairly and expose exactly the road that we've been taken on, not the road we chose to take.
Well, you lean towards that conspiracy side on a bigger scale than I do.
I know.
It's hard. It was
If you-
hard. Hang on one moment. It was hard for me to even fathom believing some of these things.
Yeah.
But over the last 8-10 years, that hard to fathom isn't so hard anymore. Especially whenever I started the whole thought process started changing some. And then when the Georgia officials came out a couple of weeks ago and said there was 315,000 illegal votes cast, and 99% of those were cast for Joe Biden, and they have admitted that it was wrong and they did it incorrectly, yet nothing has been done. So for someone like me that had a hard time really even believing that, because I did not want to believe that that was the case, that
And if you
somebody
can't-
needs to pay the price.
If you can't believe everything, and if you believe everything, you have issues because
that's
you
your
can't
fault.
believe everything. So if you can't believe everything, then you must question anything. You must hold your doubts. You must be able to question it and say, show me the money. Show me the facts.
But where does someone like us or others who don't believe everything and we want to know and learn what it is we're supposed to believe or we should believe, where do we find that information when it's being so censored and so controlled
Suppressed, yeah.
that the truth is you can't find it because they're hiding it from you? So then you make yourself crazy thinking, am I really out of my mind? But like in my heart, I know it's a scam. But if you can't find the information to validate your own thoughts about that because they're hiding it from you and you can't find it, but you're not wrong, that makes
And
you feel
that's
even
what
more crazy.
That's what takes me back to the QAnon years of what was that? 16, 17, 18, 19.
Yeah.
These Q drops were coming down and they were questioning everything. And then suddenly right before the 2020 elections that they eliminated all these social media podcasters?
Yeah.
And all of them moved to places like Rumble, BitChute. Well, there's a few of them that I still listen to.
And
Now-
they tried to stop Rumble. Like,
Yeah.
they tried hard to eliminate it. Like,
And if you go to X or Truth Social, either one, it doesn't mean that you have to buy into everything that the people on that side of the aisle are talking about or that side of the story are talking about, but it at least lets you understand why they feel the way that they do. And I think that's what's important. That's why I watch a lot of liberal stuff. I can't remember that woman on MSNBC that I watch every night because I love watching her getting trashed by that other dude. But you got to listen to both sides and go, which one feels right to me?
would you,
Which one weighs?
not would
more?
you, but is it fair to say, or would it be a stretch to say that Elon Musk potentially saved the entire Western civilization by buying X?
I think that has yet to be seen, but I think there's quite the possibility in that. Yeah.
There's some like, right? Am I crazy? Like, there's some validity to that, right? Like, because he spent 44 billion of his own dollars to buy that company, and he admitted then that it was probably double the price of what it was worth, but he did it so he could stop the insanity. Like,
The misinformation,
he could be, and it may not be known now, but like, it would be hard to not feel that way about him for doing that. And he did it for us because of how out of control the lying and the deceit was. Like, the Russiagate, absolutely proven to be false. Hunter Biden's laptop, absolutely proven to be true. The influx of the illegal immigrants, absolutely proven to be true.
Biden, I can't do anything about it. Trump, day one, close the border. Okay.
Didn't you say something last week that was like November, December had 0 illegal crossings?
No. The entire year.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I couldn't do anything about it. They're doing what they're doing. So that shows that we are basically a pawn in their whole chess game that they're playing against each other. And the thing is, people like you and I don't know if it's because of our age or our willingness to be open-minded enough to see some of the crazy stuff. Because are there conspiracy theories out there? Yes. Is some of it crazy? Yes. Should you listen to some of it? Yes. Because it's not all crazy.
There's a lot of those right wingers that say Hillary Clinton, this person, that person have already been locked up down there off in Cuba and or been put to death already had trials. And I'm like, I'm not jumping onto that. I'm just not. But do I see things coming? Yes.
And I think if we are to continue this path of correction and of the reset in the correct way, not in the reset of the global order or whatever, but in the reset of what's been taking place, then something on this path needs to happen and people need to be held accountable. They canceled the whole James Comey thing because of they let it expire or they didn't do it correctly or whatever. Guilty as can be, yet they're not going to do anything about it. Hillary was in charge of the Russiagate. Her campaign paid for it. Why is somebody not in jail? Why? Like, it has been proven. Mark Zuckerberg came out and said the Biden administration basically forced our hands to censor these things. Why is something not being done about that? The Georgia elections, they have admitted we lied and added 315,000 votes. Why is somebody not in jail for that? Why are they not being punished? So then it's like, if I get a speeding ticket, I got to pay the fine. There's no way to get out of it. But why do you break a federal law and it's fine? We're going to say, don't do it again. Like, what the hell? Somebody needs to pay the price. Because you're an elected official doesn't mean you're willy-nilly free to go. Like, how is Ilhan Omar came here from Somalia, which is a horrible shithole, and she's been here, hates America, and she's worth $50 million.
Yeah.
Like, if that were you or me or any other average Joe, you're in prison already. But I'm an elected official. I'm Nancy Pelosi. I'm worth $250 million because I'm an elected official. I can do whatever I want. I'm going to put Martha Stewart in prison for making 200 grand, but I'm going to make 250 million and I'm going to be okay because I'm an elected official. Like, that kind of stuff needs to stop. I don't care how old she is. Put her ass in prison. I don't care if you like what she said. Get her out of the country. If you're a dual citizen, you shouldn't be able to run for office. You move here, then get rid of your other citizenship to whatever country you fled and leave that crap hole behind. You should not be able to run for office if you have dual citizenship. Like, that should not be permitted, because then you have allegiance to where you came from. Like, you shouldn't be permitted for that. And I just think until something is actually done, they're not going to win over the people. And I cannot imagine what it would be like if we don't maintain this in 28. Like, we will see the burning of this country to the ground. And they're going to be so happy to do it.
The November midterms are going to be a telltale sign of which direction we're going to head in.
And if the people of New York City, that has more Jewish people in New York City than there are in Israel, you can't get your lazy asses out of the house to go vote.
Yep.
To stop a communist, Muslim, Jew-hating person, you can't get your lazy asses out of the house to stop that. That gives me very little hope that we can stop the rest of it. Like, I don't understand. If you said, we hate your family, we want you all to die, I'm running for mayor, vote for me, and then my family doesn't go out and vote at least against you because they're too lazy to get out of the house and go vote against you, then you deserve what you get. Like, it's so baffling. I am like, my brain almost hurts from trying to comprehend what they're doing. So, whew.
All right, I'm out of stories.
I'm not even going to bring it up because I don't want to go through the process of finding it. But Minnesota, there are reports of 1 billion. I heard another report that said 16 billion, and I heard somebody else say up to $19 billion. And then the guy who runs the Leering Center has come out and said,
No. He wasn't the Learning Center. He was a different.
Oh, okay. But he said somebody broke in, did massive damage, stole all the records, so they can't prove anything. Well, they came out this morning and stated that they have now found $400 million in fraud from the COVID PPP funds, 90% of which are Somalians. And I don't have a vast understanding of it, but from when I was working in Fort Myers, that's during the COVID, they would give you this loan. You paid that money to keep your business afloat. And if you then brought those people back in once it was over and rehired them, or at least gave them the option to be rehired and try to go back to business as usual, your loan could be forgiven to a point. Some of these people took out these loans and didn't even have businesses. And Waltz and the government of Minnesota were informed that it was fraudulent, and yet kept the money flowing. So when you see Omar, that's suddenly worth $50 million, where do you think some of that money went? There was also someone came out and said that one of the phone numbers to this childcare place, when you call it, it goes to Tim Waltz's office. I don't know how much that is true. I'm just saying that after all of this, I would be hard pressed not to believe that to be true.
Elon Omar's net worth estimates vary significantly, with recent figures late 2025, early 26, suggesting a range from over $6 million to potentially $30 million. So let's go low end. Why is Elon Omar worth $6 million? Why? What value has she brought to this country to earn $6 million other than divide us?
What is the average salary for someone in her position? Is it like 140?
Is she a congresswoman?
I honestly don't even know. I think she's a congresswoman. She's not a senator. So, and she's been in that position for 6 years, I think. So,
most U.S. representatives and senators earn a base salary of $174K annually. Speaker of the House, $223,000.
so she's
Minority
made.
leaders, $193,000. I didn't realize that you get in a leadership role, you get more money. I'm not good with that.
So imagine though she's been in that position, say for 6 years, and just say it's 200,000 to make it easy for math. 6 times 2 is 12. That's $1.2 million that she would have earned. Now you got to take out taxes, living expenses, and things like that. So then say it's 1 million. Where did the other 29 million come from? Or low end, where did the other 5 million come from?
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. No questions. They don't want to know. We
You're
want
a
to help the
scammer.
little
You're
people
a
and we're going to
thief.
become rich.
You are
Yep.
a thief. And
If Donald Trump is fooling us, if he's lying to us, at least his message is, I want you to have a job, and I want to bring manufacturing to this country, and I want to bring AI to this country, and I want to bring servers, as in computer servers, to this country. We need to set up electrical companies in this country so that we are independent and not dependent on these other nations. That's the message we want to hear. Now, is he doing it? The left's going to tell you he's trying to enrich himself. Like, for what? He's got 5 years left on this planet, 10 tops. Yes. Is he trying to build his Trump name into a legacy that is unlike any other by building up New York skyline, by being the guy that he was? He's been on, I watched a clip the other day of all the different shows that he was on in the 90s and 2000s and 2010s. It was a little guest appearance going all the way back to Home Alone. He was in all kinds of shows. He was in, what was that? I can't remember. The Will Smith show.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah, he was on that show. He was on a lot of shows that I was like, oh yeah. He was beloved. People loved him. So he had already reached iconic status before he ran for office. He said back to Oprah Winfrey on the Oprah Winfrey show in the late 80s, maybe early 90s, I wouldn't run for president unless. And the unless is the exact same message that he had when he ran in 2015 and the exact same message that he has now. If things got out of control, we'd have to rein it in. I might consider it. And here he is.
He also, and I remember this, I remember watching this when he was on Oprah, and there are people in countries that do not want me to ever be president because I wouldn't take what they are giving to us because it isn't fair. This was in the 80s. He's like, they owe us billions and billions and billions of dollars, and we just let it go. He said, they don't want me to be president because I would take it back, or I would take their country in place of the money they owed us. They don't want me to be president. And Oprah was cheering him on, going, that's what we need.
Yes.
That's the person.
Her entire audience supported it. Why won't you run? Yes.
And it was like, I remember that so well. And now, remember 2 years ago, the left crazy asses. One moment, please. And I will show this because I think it's hilarious. And it came from you. So.
Well, then you know it's funny because I'm the funny one.
This right here. These people loved Elon. He was a god. They loved him until
electric vehicles. Whoop, whoop.
Until he says, I support Donald J. Trump. You're the devil. Firebomb his stores. Burn it down. Like, protest his place. Stop buying his shit because he's the devil. Yep. That's the crazy that goes on. Like, it's insanity. And then for the people that believe it, like, I don't think there's enough mental care facilities to take care of them. So you need to run for office, rookie.
Shit, no. I want no part of that. No
Somebody
part
needs
of
to
that.
stand up to the crazy. And it's offensive to some people what we do here. I don't care. I don't care anymore. You know, and this year came at Christmas time. I made sure that to every person that left my bar, I said Merry Christmas. I didn't care what color you were, where you're from, if you were offended by it, because you are in the country that I was born and raised in the United States of America. We say Merry Christmas. I'm saying that. If you don't like it, don't be here. If you're offended by the things that I believe in this country that makes this country great, why are you here? That's like people that come from New York to Florida and they want to New York it. They're fleeing the crap hole, and then they want to vote here like they did in home where they ran from. It's not good enough for us there. We're going to bring it here, though, and try to remake it, even though we hated it. That's like in Texas. People fled California to go to Texas, and now they're voting like they did in California. But they fled it because it wasn't good enough for them. But you're trying to do that again. Like, it's chaos. Like,
it all is going to come down to President Trump needs to have things in order by July 4th, have a whole bunch of issues exposed so that we see what the truth actually is. Not my truth, your truth, or the liberals' truth. What is the truth? And then the November elections are going to be a telltale sign of which direction this country is going to be headed in.
And if you're the youth that thinks it's going to be fixed tomorrow morning, get your head out of your asses. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. My mother used to make potato soup from scratch, and she would start it on Wednesday for Saturday because you had to let it simmer. You had to low and slow. You had to let this taste and the spices get through there and to
Permeate.
go through the rest of it. And then once it was done, you had to let it rest for the day so it could actually marinate and get through the rest of the product. And then on Saturday, when you had it, it was fantastic. But if she cooked it on a Wednesday and you ate it on Thursday, it tastes like potato water. You had to let it get to the point that it was ready. So in the beginning, when I was a kid, I didn't understand that. When I got older, I understood I want it now, but it's not going to be ready until Saturday. So when I had it Saturday, I was so grateful that I was patient enough to wait for it to be ready.
Yep.
So these people that voted for Trump that now are already pissed off thinking that it should be fixed, like, wait for the soup to be ready. You got to wait for it to be ready. We can't blast every manufacturing plant in this country over the 20-year period and then expect it to be put back in place today. You got to rebuild the foundation. But when it comes back, it's going to be glorious. But be patient enough to wait for it to be glorious. I got gas yesterday at $2.69. It's been $3.50,
That's
$3.80,
crazy.
$4 a gallon for years, 4 years. When Trump was in office, I was paying $1.90 the first time. I'm paying $2.61. So tell me that it's not working.
Yep.
I got a dozen eggs so Deidre can make cookies for Christmas. I paid $2.60, $2.70 for a dozen. Tell me that it's not working. The only thing I see that's not really working is beef. They're working on a plan for that. But my God.
Yeah, and beef is expensive.
But like, have some effing common sense on how things work. And I think that's where the people in New York City are going to be unbelievably distraught when they realize and they mature enough in their brains, when their brains actually can process stuff like an adult, mature human, that, oh my God, This guy just told us a bunch of crap that's not even feasible.
Well, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they don't get their news except from individual sources, whether it be X, whether it be TikTok, memes. That's where they get their information from. We need to make sure that the information gets out there. The truth gets out there. I'll tell you what the facts are, and then I'll tell you what my opinion is based on those facts. Now, you can't argue with me about the facts. You can argue with me, debate me about my opinion and how I bring those facts together to form my opinion, but my opinion isn't wrong. It's not right. It's my opinion. But the facts are the facts, and when you ignore the facts because they don't fit your agenda, your story, your belief system, then it's not truth.
Yep.
I get irritated, but I'm hoping there's a great awakening. There I go back to the Q shit. I hope there's a great awakening. I hope people finally start seeing things, and I hope the current administration is able to lift the curtain on a lot of things that has been hidden from us. And Minnesota is a start. The corruption going on in Minnesota is not limited to Minnesota. It's in California. It's probably in Texas. It's probably in Florida.
And it's in
everywhere.
Ohio.
Yep.
And Governor DeWine, who says he's a Republican, came out Tuesday or Wednesday and said there is zero fraud in our child care systems because we manage it correctly. My first thought was, you're hiding a bunch of crap. You know, he was like, you're hiding a bunch of shit. Like, how much have you gotten out of that? Because he's the most Democratic Republican there is, besides Massey. But there is fraud. I knew when Elon was doing Doge, I was like, he is doing a lot of great things. I had no clue that just like in Minnesota, that's one area. That's just that one area that is a potentially $19 billion. It could be one. But if there's 50 states and it's 1 billion per state, that's 50 billion. That people like us that are working and paying taxes, like, I don't want to pay taxes anymore. If I didn't pay taxes, I'd be in jail.
Yeah.
But you're forcing me to give you 35% of my income so you can throw it in the shitter. But you're going to force me to give you that money so you can then play with it like it's your own monopoly money. I shouldn't be forced to pay it if you don't know how to handle it and manage it. It's unbelievable. It's very frustrating. So, whew, man, I feel lighter.
All right. Another episode in the books.
We're like, we're going to keep it chill this time. Episode 15, episode 1 of season 2 is going to be.
You said that, but you're always full of shit.
I just
off the rails.
Yeah, I will say one more thing before we go. When you start talking about Q, I'm like, Rook, I love you, bro. Like, we've been best friends for 30 years. You're talking out of your a-hole. I'm not 100% bought in, but I am vastly more leaning to the side of a lot of this is like down the center. I mean, it's.
And real quick, for those people that are lied to about the Q stuff, Q never said to do anything, never said this was happening, just brought out facts. Things like Jeffrey Epstein we heard about before it was ever in the news. Things about the Russiagate, facts that disproved it prior to, we already heard about. The laptop, we had heard about. Didn't necessarily have an opinion on it. We based our own opinion on what we researched, and that's all that Q was saying was research, learn for yourself, research for yourself. And that's what I did, and I dove deep into a lot of these subjects. And I told you about the Hunter Biden laptop before you ever knew there was a laptop out there. I told you that it was dropped off at a place, that the guy tried to return it to him. He never came back to get it. The guy copied it and then emptied it and resold it. Then all of a sudden he wanted it back and it was too late, but he still had all the files off of the laptop. Knew about this long before it ever became national news. And when it came out on national news, they started defending that it was fake. It was fake. It was fake. I'm like, I know it's not fake. I've already seen the interviews with the guy. He's partially blind that was working the shop that Hunter pawned it at. So when they start throwing these things, you're already, if you can't buy everything, then you can trust nothing. So that's what I'm doing.
And then one more thing about that. I know we're over an hour, but why would someone like Giuliani ruin his entire life's work to speak out about something and sacrifice all of those years that he was such a great and successful person? Why would he put all of that on the line for a lie?
Yep.
Why would that man who had the laptop ruin his life over something that was a lie?
Yeah, he had to close up shop. He
had to move. I think he moved out of state because he was being
so
harassed and threatened with his life. Like, why would those folks put themselves out there? Why would who's the general?
Flynn.
Why would he work his entire life as a military servant? Why would he put all of that in the garbage disposal over something that was a lie? If he didn't believe it, and he wouldn't believe it if he didn't have reason to believe it. Why?
Yep.
That to me weighs more on to me of at least give it an opportunity to explore it, to see if it's potentially true versus just saying no.
I will keep an eye on CBS Evening News for you and bring you any clips that might be to see if they really are going to be fair and balanced. Let's see what their opinions are versus let's see.
All right. Well, folks, we are past our deadline. We want to say thank you so much. Episode 15 is in the books. Welcome to 2026. We're just getting started. This should be a eventful 8 or 9 months. We're excited about it. Thank you. Please like, share, subscribe, tell your friends. Let us know what you want to discuss. How
do you think that show went? I think it was about a 6-7.
I think it was
6-7.
I think that's losing steam. Anyway, we appreciate it. God bless you. God bless America. God bless our president. Be blessed beyond measure. I'm Duck. That's Rookies. Peace out. We'll see you soon, and we will see you often.